Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play realMyst Masterpiece Edition. When last we left off, we discovered Cirrus and Achenar, who appear to be trapped in some form of books. At least I think they're trapped because they want me to get pages for them. The red pages for the red book, and the blue pages for the blue book. Reception through the books was kind of rubbish, so we're just gonna have to take their word for it on what we could actually hear. So, let's read this book, because we have more books to read. Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that is what they are, a group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This is where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far of a distance. One day, another person appeared on the rocks, for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, and he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the new boy should be called Will. Will was soon part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least, that is the story I was told when I arrived on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age. Ah, so this age was newly created. Can we presume by Atlas? A strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change in their world. They didn't understand. Not that I expected them to. So you can change the worlds, Atlas. You can change these worlds. So you create these worlds and you can change them. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father. The art. So what is the art? And who is Father? I attempted to create a boat by writing it into the world. Oh, right. So, you can literally write these things in to the books. The books that you hid away from Cirrus and Achenar that you told Catherine she'd be able to find. So you literally write worlds. You are writing worlds into existence. That is an interesting power. A very interesting power. And I imagine if used badly, a very, very, very dangerous power. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It was much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. Ah, that is a submersible lamp. Gonna have to remember that. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also during the night I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I will rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I've also been thinking on some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light towards the horizon, It might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They will be curious about the light and travel to discover its source, if they have the means. I return with many tools that I need for the construction of the lighthouse. I've decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. I've worked 3 weeks on my lighthouse now, and I'm making great progress. The rock that we were building on seems to not be as secure as I would like. I've had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problem. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. So you're basically going to these worlds and tampering with them once you've made them. Sort of a kind of playing God. The lighthouse is finished and we're all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night at the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise, without my being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I had become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the new additional neighbours. I feel pleased to leave this age. I've set in motion events that have nothing to do with the writing or the art, that will be a more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. You indeed write things, that is just confirming it. I think... Oh. Fair enough, you think what? There's a picture of the stone ship age. Bird's eye view. I think of this age as a gift to myself, that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some time to travel. Some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is in order. Oh. It has been 10 years since I left this age, which I have since called the Stone Ship Age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me that it has not rained for 7 years, and the cool breezes are back again. They're all very content, and have been serving me with new foods and showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they've found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. The lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition, and it looks as if they have tried their very best to keep it so. Yet I have noticed that the entire rock that was built has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like in another 10 years. Ah, constellations! Right. We might need to note those. But there are a lot of constellations here. Oh! Those constellations, those images, are the same as the ones outside by the model of the boat. Ah, okay. Fair enough. So that's book number 2. What about book number 3? It has been a while since I've only heard silence, and I enjoy it greatly, I think. For some reason I do not feel altogether unwelcome in this new world in which I have arrived. But how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. The world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to even write in a journal that an age I have inked to is horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I am standing I can see green fields below, along with a few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I am standing, yet the water's blue could be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh and the sky is sparkled with white clouds. It is absolutely breathtaking, and yet that strange feeling again. Perhaps it is the hot breeze that continues to blow from the north, hotter than I would have imagined. It almost singes my skin, and I feel quite uncomfortable when it comes. I will try to ignore it. The night has almost arrived, and the sunset is spectacular. Oranges and reds have settled on above the western hemisphere, or horizon. Though night has come, the horizon still glows red and long past the sunset. Dark red flows from the horizon and blends into the black sky. Again the feeling, and I'm beginning to believe it is not all in my mind. I must sleep now. I will need strength to continue more tomorrow. I've had to return home due to an unpredictable natural occurrence more frightening than I have ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shakings in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately left in fear of my life. I must remember to bring a Myst linking book with me when I return, in case the one left there has been destroyed or damaged. Ooh! So I have a Myst linking book, maybe? Maybe that's what I have, a book that links me to Myst? I've returned to a different world than the one I had left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren desert land with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide variety. Strange enough, the grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently the falling meteors did not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of this horrible desolation. The hot wind, I remember, has returned into a rather pleasant breeze, which is at least one improvement. I fear it is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists, and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape, and the jutting rock that grows out of the centre of the lake. The rest of this world seems like a desert, although I will verify that statement with closer inspection. This world has little visual excitement to offer. Though this world has little visual excitement to offer, it offers much to the ears. Sounds constantly through from my ears, and I have found where a few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awoken to a horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dropped my head in a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes have returned, along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack and a huge chasm opened. The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar. I decided, however, to use the chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. Ooh! Even as the chasm has ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. Although uncomfortably hot, I found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that has been created, and have now explored deep into the crust of this planet. I have found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I will also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seems to change on its own, so I feel I should leave again and see if things are different when I return. It is also important that I check on Sirius and Akinar and make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I also hope to bring back some tools that I need for my plans to explore the underground. The abundance of raw materials here is beginning to amaze me. I have returned with some of the complex tools I know I will be needing. I assumed I would have to return for more basic materials, however. It seems as though I will be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I've also found titanium occurring naturally. I am all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set, and I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I will be able to have most of my additions to this age completed within 1 year. I so love working with my hands, whether writing or building. I began today on the bridge and... it's not going so well. The magnetic something will work well, and I've decided to... 3 meters is not enough support for the beams, although something amazingly strong... You built that rocket. Has to be one of the most prized inventions. I'm extremely... Could never have imagined it to come together quite as... I doubt... Could possibly work with 14 instead of 8? So 14 and 3 meters? Remember 3 meters? Comfortably fatigued, I'm so happy to have completed tomorrow. I'm leaving today in order to bring back Sirius and Akinar. I've left them alone in Channelwood. I remember that because I read it earlier. I believe they will enjoy all there is to see here. The age seems to have stabilized. I believe the meteors set off a period of volcanic activity by piercing into the shallow crust, but the tremors have become few. I've just noticed that a large amount of this journal has curiously vanished from the very pages on which I wrote it over the last 18 months. Fortunately, I have copied most of my construction notes in another journal. I do not understand the many mysteries of this world, but I trust I will discover logical answers to my questions. I have a feeling that many of my questions can be answered in another age, to which I hope to travel soon. But for now I must simply accept this world's mysteries and take pride in my accomplishments. And there is a piano. And ordering to press certain keys. Gonna have to remember that one. And there is a picture of the land itself. And that is the end of that book. We have more books, though, like this book here. This book contains what looks like patterns In fact, that looks like that's all it contains. Just pans. A lot of pans. A lot of pans. Wow, that's a lot of pans. Well, if I need any patents, I know exactly where I'm going to get them from. I don't quite know why I'm going to need them, but maybe at some point I'll figure it out. There are a lot of patents. Wow, the numbers just keep going up. How many numbers does this go up to? Hundreds? Possibly hundreds. We're going to close that book. I have no idea where I'm going to be using those. But hey, could be useful. So we have this book here. This one... Oh, hang on. There, on the front of this book... that cog looks familiar. We've seen a cog like that. We saw it near the beginning. Before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures. And it was. The sky here is dark and grey, and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. He is very feeble and has trouble even moving. The man has obviously been through very many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills, which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of travelling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumours of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The people grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day, the usually sunny sky became dark as night. The black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout post's attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumoured that 10 years from the attack the enemy would return to finish the destruction. They had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable to save this civilization and stop the enemy's plans of destruction. I am excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defence for these people. All 6 of them. I met the remaining survivors today and have begun work on a plan for protection. After a short absence, I have returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, travelled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since Everdunes, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time, instead of the nuisance they've been in the past. All 3 of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We're building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I'm very pleased with their intelligence and their creativity. It's refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. It is well over 4 months now. Construction is going well. My sons love the world, except for its grey sky. They detest the grey sky and tell me many times they wish the sky were more like the blue sky in Myst. Which indeed the blue sky here is indeed blue. The old man I first talked to tells me the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now the only islands due to the rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress, I've designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I began experimenting with my visit to Aspermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. The holographic projection will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. Okay, there's a picture there I might want to make a note of. The enemy is due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. Whoa, that is quite a fortress you've got going on there, by the way. The black ships have come. Their attacks were substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Last night we had a small celebration. The old survivors danced their dances of old. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I have had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe I have begun. But first, I will have an extended time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the tide. I believe in my travels I have found a substance which will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I'm confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. Well, that's a story. Also, this book is ruined. But this book is not. Ooh, more reading. Rhyme, I have named it. This is the new area. A desolate age with a beauty that is quite different than I had expected or imagined. The intricate feathers of ice that fall from the sky are awe-inspiring. I feel as though I could sit and watch them for hours. And though it is cold here, like I have never experienced before, I find myself enjoying the change of temperature, for it is unlike any place I have ever seen. Perhaps the oddest thing is the silence. The wind blows on occasion. When it ceases, there is a suffocating silence that falls on this place, broken only by the distant cries of unseen creatures. I have visited 3 times, and am sure now by this age will provide the environment I need. I believe the cold temperature is necessary for obtaining the correct resonance. Crystals? Examining the structure of the books is ever more perplexing, but I am driven on by my need to understand. The great tree of possibilities can never be fully grasped, but I must try at least to find one particular branch. On the subject of enlightenment, I would also like to find the cause of the mysterious lights that shine in the darkness here. Though I never assumed that I would be able to build especially fast here, the speed at which I am progressing is somewhat disappointing. I do think I will bring Cirrus and Akinar as well as some of the machinery from Selenetic. Akinar chose to stay with Catherine, but Cirrus was rather excited to come. He had spent the last few days here with me, helping me with the beginning phases of construction. He too seems to enjoy the ice and cold weather. He is intrigued by the crystals that we have brought with us. He has been a big help, as have others, and I hope to be able to begin my experiments here soon. Tonight Cirrus and I found a wondrous spot to view the lights, although it seems they decided to hide from us. After sitting in the cold winds for over 2 hours, we saw nothing. It was rather disappointing. Cirrus will return to Myst tomorrow. He's been a tremendous aid to me, and I'm thankful for his willingness to help. The hard part of the construction is over, although I have decided that, after tonight, that I would like to add some kind of observation post. I won't be finished as soon as I hoped, though I'm fairly certain it will be worth the delay in the long run. I've decided to take a break from the construction now that the tunnel is almost complete, and I've been able to set up a temporary space where the crystals will not be stimulated. Oh, so it is crystals! I'm quite convinced that with the right diffraction resonance, certain properties of the ink can be... Oh, he's looking at the ink with which he writes his books! Catherine still finds it absurd and thinks I'm crazy to assume I will be able to view ages with stones, but her unusual pessimism has not convinced me to stop trying. I came too close to success on Everdunes. I'm fairly certain now that temperature does indeed have an effect on the crystals, but I have realized that temperature alone is not enough. The cold dampens some of the sympathetic harmonics, but a more active suppressor is necessary. I have acquired some geodes with a pure protected crystalline interior. Thin slices of the geodes below each crystal provide a stabilizing effect, and even amplified the clean frequency slightly. After quite a bit of experimentation with the shapes and colours, I was able to capture a blurry image within a book. Though the link would never work, there was clearly an age on the other side. I can hardly wait to return and tell Catherine. I feel like I should finish what's the word? I feel like I should finish the shaft to my observation post while I have a machinery here. Perhaps tomorrow morning. The lights were beautiful again last night. They had not shown themselves for so long, I'd almost forgotten their beauty. I must find the cause. I'm feeling rather overwhelmed with what remains to be done. The crystals have not been perfected, the shaft is not finished, nor is the observation post, or even the lab. I have not seen Catherine for some time, and I long to spend some time with Akinar and Cirrus. Besides all of that, there are far away, back in the back of my mind, the thoughts of my people and our lost city. Lost city? I dreamt again of them last night. I've only seen the city in its worst condition, and still its beauty overwhelmed me. Even now, as I visualize how majestic it must have been before the destruction caused by Viovis and Argeris, it amazes and saddens me. I am fairly certain that Denis is not dead as my father believed. I am convinced that there must be some who managed to escape destruction and even now continue to survive in separate ages. Within me is an urging to take a chance to return to Denis, to find these survivors and properly rebuild our city. However, I can do nothing until I am certain of the fate of my father. If my plan failed, if I missed a single book when attempting to trap him on Riven, then he has been free all along. If that is true, then all that stands between him and the ages I have written now is a link from Denis to Myst. As much I wish to return to Denis, without knowing the state of my father, I cannot risk re-establishing that link. Oh! I must observe my father without re-establishing that link. It has taken several years, and there have been many dead ends, but I have partially succeeded. Now that I have managed to view another age using the crystals, it is only a matter of time until I view Riven. At least I hope. Catherine will have her ideas about all of these things, and I miss her greatly. I will return to Rhyme later, when my mind is cleared. There are all the books, including the new book, added in for the realMyst. And so, with all of the books read, perhaps now we have a better idea of what's going on. Of Atros, who is literally writing the worlds that he makes using special ink in books. Of link books that allow you to link from one world to another. Specifically, the book that we must have read to get to Myst. About the fact that the worlds change independently of his own writing. The fact that he can write new things in, with varying degrees of success. The fact that he appears to be from a group of people that were destroyed by something, and yet he believes some of them survive. He believes that his father survives. Perhaps his father... He doesn't want to actually observe his father directly. He perhaps doesn't trust him. And also that each of these worlds, in theory, can probably be visited. But who knows? Who knows? We have to use the tower rotation to figure out all of the answers to these questions. And when we come back, folks, perhaps maybe we'll even be able to go to one of these strange worlds to find answers we seek. Maybe. Maybe. But there are many things left unanswered. And if we figure these out, well, there's got to be an answer somewhere. I'll catch you next time, and I'll see you then. Later.